Hello everyone, so I haven't made a video in a while, but that's just gonna be how it is because I just have to think of what I'm gonna do, and I don't really have the time to make them all the time, and because I'm not like pro or anything. So, but today we do have a new video, and I probably took the longest to make this one because I wrote a script and got gameplay for the background, which was harder to get than the previous gameplays in the background because I didn't just record at the same time. So this is probably going to be a better video than the rest. But with that out of the way, let's start. So today's video is going to be about fair debating. So um, let's say you're online and you're about to start basically a flame war by starting a debate, basically. So, uh, don't go into a debate without knowing some of these tips because it'll help you and everyone in the debate win. So, first, remember to keep the discussion about the topic specifically, not the people. So, if you're going to debate somebody, don't dismiss their points by calling them something like a heathen or some other word, ignorant, anything, unless you're going to objectively state why they are this and not just use it to shut something down. But in most cases, doing this will only get your points dismissed. And don't call anyone something stupid because of a mistake. Like, don't call them illiterate because they had a typo or something. So just keep the debate focused on what it's supposed to be about. Second, do some research. If you're talking about something serious, you're going to need to back up your point with facts. If you're doing a debate online especially, it's silly to not do a simple Google search before you start. People in professional debates will often spend months preparing their cases, even if it's not doing it the entire time, because they need to be prepared, so you might as well do a couple seconds of your own to have a better debate. And if you don't have access to the internet at the time, you can still use logic to create some points that can be put together and understood without using any sources, but you can also use points that you can easily find sources for later. If it's something simple like that climate change exists, you can find lots of sources later to point it out to them, or something like that. And third out, you should point out flaws in the other person's argument. If you're not taking apart an opponent's argument, you're basically agreeing with them because you're not saying that they're wrong. So thus, it's inferred that you can't debate that point, basically. But even if it's something insane, you should still point out that it's crazy. Like, if they say that ghosts possess every cat, you should point out that either it's a ridiculous claim, or more specifically, that they don't have any evidence saying this. So, this kind of brings up to the fourth point, which is to use evidence. So, if you have no evidence, you're making claims that have nothing to back them up. And so, even if you're just using logic to make your points, it's still going to be more reliable than just saying something that's just crazy and then not backing it up. So you also have to make sure that your evidence isn't from a biased source. So if you're in a debate on, say, how much separation of church and state should exist, don't use a statement from like a church as evidence. And the opposite, don't necessarily use a source from an extremely biased atheist thing that's saying that all religion is horrible and we should kill all religious people, because that's obviously going to be biased in that topic. And of course, general credibility is required. Like, don't use Wikipedia or Yahoo Answers, and just don't use forums in general. And the last tip, and possibly the most important to have a good debate, is to make sure that you're being respectful. if you're in an extremely formal debate, you won't uh, win by calling them names, yelling at them, and it just shows that you're not mature enough to refrain from doing that kind of thing in when you have a disagreement with someone. And so, as I said before, don't call them names, which corresponds to the first point about keeping the discussion about the topic. You should not yell at them or use caps lock on the internet. You should not physically threaten them. That's generally not respectful and just horrible in pretty much any situation, even outside of debates. And it also applies to the internet, like, don't say that you're going to assassinate their dogs or something. And don't threaten to dox them, DDoS them, or a server that they use, or anything else for that matter. But just be respectful to both them and their points. So, hopefully, these tips can help you do better, more respectful debates online. So, hope you will have a great day.